So if you were a 2D game looking for a home at the end of 2009, well, the Wii wasn't exactly an ideal neighborhood to settle in, so to speak. All the cool kids were drooling over the hot new neighbor, Muramasa the Demon Blade, and just a few months later, everyone on the block would be buzzing over the arrival of something called New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Those games, kind of a huge deal, so if you didn't notice any other 2D Wii games at the time, you're not alone. But while Muramasa and Mario basically hogged the spotlight, another outstanding 2D game came to Nintendo's platform, offering a hook that was unique enough to set it apart, and a look that was charming enough to make you want to give it a hug. And fortunately, there's a button for that in A Boy and His Blob. Released a month after Muramasa and a month before Mario, this game didn't exactly hit shelves at the most opportune time. For a game as unique and quirky as A Boy and His Blob, being stuck between a sandwich of 2D games that hyped and that awesome was probably a bad thing in retrospect. But if you missed it in 2009 and you're desperate for something to play on Wii, don't let that overshadowed release dissuade you. On a system rich with fantastic platformers and 2D games in general, you won't find too many better than this one. The first thing you notice about A Boy and His Blob is the way it looks. This game is absolutely gorgeous, and given its meticulous art and animations, it should come as no surprise that A Boy and His Blob was developed by the tremendously talented team over at WayForward Technologies. From huge releases like Contra 4 to even overlooked games like the Nintendo DS version of freaking Thor, WayForward games are always among the prettiest looking games on their platform, and this is no exception. From these gorgeous hand-drawn animations and rich colors to even the depth created by these multiple layers of parallax, A Boy and His Blob proves that a stylish Wii game doesn't have to bow to any of its HD rivals. And fortunately, it's about more than just art with A Boy and His Blob. A revival of an NES game nearly 20 years its senior, this is a puzzle platformer that frankly owes as much to Portal as it does Super Mario. Playing as a small boy with a gelatinous companion, you move through levels that, like Portal, are basically huge puzzles. Since the boy's abilities are understandably limited, solving those puzzles depends mostly on the blob. So, armed only with a variety of transformative jelly beans, you have to feed the blob an appropriate jelly bean to get through a given situation. You might have to turn the blob into a ladder to reach a platform, or you might have to turn him into a trampoline to make an otherwise impossible jump. Your blob has a really nice variety of attributes to keep the puzzle-solving, platform-leaping gameplay interesting, an endeavor that's helped along further by the level design. There are moments in which you'll be stumped, but you're never frustrated. The game has so much charm and cleverness, it's impossible not to have fun with it. And when you finally solve one of those tricky puzzles, there's an immediate feeling of satisfaction. A Boy and His Blob is as rewarding as it is adorable. I mean, come on, look at that little guy. It may have been overshadowed by other 2D Wii games, but A Boy and His Blob does more than enough to stand on its own. Now, it would have been great to have had the ability to play with the Wii Remote held sideways, as playing with the nunchuck just doesn't feel quite as good. And of course, the very nature of these games, the whole trial and error approach to puzzle design, it's definitely an acquired taste, but otherwise, this is really one of the best third-party games on Wii. It's the unforgettable storybook world of A Boy and His Blob, a game that shows that even a formless, sticky blob can be cute enough to hug. I mean, look at it. Come here, you little bastard.
Oh.